Hello everyone, welcome to GoTarryn TV. I'm Tarryn, the traveling trainer of GoTarryn Personal Training, also known as Professor T from Georgia State University, here yet again, also with the returning Ms. Elsie Trawick out of Atlanta, Georgia as well. And before we get to Elsie, if we could please invite everyone out there to make sure that you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, and while you're watching today's video blog, if you could please be so kind as to leave us a comment, like the video, and share it with all of your friends and family. Momentarily, we're going to be having Ms. Elsie Trawick here on GoTarryn TV, and I'm going to be talking to her and asking her about some of the gluten-free foods, some of the myths that she might dispel for us, and also good pitfalls and challenges that people can avoid to lean up and shape up, making their health and fitness nutrition much better. So when we come back, again, we're going to be having Ms. Elsie Trawick out of Atlanta, Georgia, here on GoTarryn TV. Remember, GoTarryn TV is your time, your investment, and your life. All right, welcome back, folks. As you can see side by side, as we're welcoming once again back to GoTarryn TV, Ms. Elsie Trawick. Elsie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. This is fun. I'm so glad we could get together.
Yeah, definitely. It's always great to have you back on. So today I understand you're going to be telling us about healthy options for foods that are fat-free or gluten-free. Is that right?
Well, actually, what I'm going to talk about are healthy foods that if you eat too much of them will make you fat.
Very interesting.
Yeah, because we all like these in our diet, but too much of a good thing is not a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Yeah, so what foods are those, and what are we talking about here?
Well, first I'm going to start off with dry cereals.
Okay.
Dry cereals are refined carbohydrates.
Right.
Let's just be blunt and be frank about it. And if you're eating dry cereal for breakfast every day and then wondering why at 10 o'clock you're getting hungry again, it's because you've spiked your blood sugar, you've spiked your insulin, and now all that has come crashing down.
Okay.
Just look at dry cereals like a piece of white bread. Even if they say whole wheat, dry cereal is made with flour. Whole grains are whole grains.
Mm-hmm.
You buy in a box or a bag in a plastic container, and you can see them. They're oatmeal, they're wheat berries, wheat germ, quinoa, brown rice, farro. Those are whole grains. Dry cereal is a flour milled refined carbohydrate.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're feeding that to your children and your children are running around like crazy and then they're coming in hungry a couple hours later. That's why. So it's best to start your day with an egg, lean protein. Sausage and bacon are good. Even some sliced, non-processed, more all-natural luncheon meats are good to have for breakfast with a side of greens or fruit.
Okay.
Something like that is a better way to start your day. Also, if you're eating cereal or cereal bars as a snack, those are refined carbohydrates, and they're just spiking that blood sugar and that insulin. And if you notice that here you are trying to be really good on your diet and you're eating the 3/4 cup or cup serving, whatever it is, and this goes for gluten-free cereals too, because there are a lot of gluten-free cereals, and a lot of the big cereal makers now have gluten-free options. Rice Krispies went gluten-free, Cheerios went gluten-free, Chex cereal, they've always been gluten-free, and they have several varieties on the market now. But trying to eat those as a snack or for dinner at night, and that there again, just realize you're eating a refined carbohydrate. Now, if you want to have a small bowl of cereal and then pair that with something else, that's a little different, because it all has to do a lot with your insulin resistance and your blood sugar levels. So if you're eating a lot of a carbohydrate, pair it with a protein.
Okay.
And that helps. Another wonderful food that we all love and is really very good for us is the avocado. The avocado has a lot of nutrients. It's high in healthy fats, and it's filling. A lot of the times what we find is instead of having a serving of an avocado, somebody will say, well, I'll have the whole thing. They'll cut it in half. They'll scoop it out. They'll put a scoop of chicken salad or tuna salad, or they'll add it to their salad, and which is fine. But there again, if you're eating a lot of other fats, this is adding that, and you may find you're adding calories. So you're bloating up, or you're getting fat, and you're like, what is going on? You may be using too much avocado. If you're adding it to your smoothie, that's another option, is just cut back. I like to use a quarter of an avocado when I put it in my salads. I buy the small avocados, and I just use a quarter of an avocado in my salad, and that's plenty. Another food that we love, and we'll step over here, and we love to add them to our salads and to our smoothies, are dried fruit. I've got a bag of golden raisins, and I've got some dates.
Oh, yeah.
Dates are wonderful in smoothies. Dried cranberries, dried pineapple. There's a wealth of dried fruits available in your health food section of your grocery store and at local markets. The problem with dried fruits, the sugar content of dried fruits. So you want to eat them very sparingly. Like when I serve myself a helping of raisins or cranberries, I use my tablespoon. And I allow especially because I eat salads every day for lunch. I eat a salad. And I use my tablespoon. So I stick it in the bag and I help myself to a tablespoon. If you're thinking at work and you've got the bag with you, the palm of your hand is a serving, all you need. And you don't need a serving of cranberries, raisins, etc. That's your serving that should be on your salad of your cranberries, raisins. So mix it up in a little bowl or a bag and then scoop out your tablespoon. Because it's all about, dried fruit is high in sugar.
Right.
So that's what we want to be aware of there. You're using dates in your smoothie. One date is plenty. Okay. One date. Dates are they add body texture and sweetness to smoothies, and it's a great way to add fiber. They're good in fiber, but a great way to sweeten up your smoothie without adding honey, maple syrup, or agave nectar, which leads to my next food, which is agave nectar. A lot of people are using agave nectar to sweeten their smoothies, sweeten their tea. Here, I've got my, it's warm here today, so instead of hot tea, I'm having my cold tea. Use the agave nectar as a sweetener, as a sugar substitute. The problem, agave nectar is sugar. Don't go overboard with it. It is sugar, and it's just like putting high fructose corn syrup on your cereal, in your tea. If you're going to use a sweetener, I recommend raw honey, and if you can get it locally, that's better, because raw honey has some minerals. It's also antimicrobial and antibacterial. So it's actually, if you're having a little cold or you're trying to snuff something out, that's why you put honey and lemon in your tea, because it actually has some healthy aspects to it. Also, maple syrup. If you buy organic maple syrup, do not buy the highly processed maple syrup or maple syrup flavored syrups, but organic maple syrup, that has a higher mineral content than honey. So you're actually adding some things in that are good for your body. But please remember, sweeteners are sweet for a reason. They're sugar, so you don't go overboard. There again, you want to pull out your handy-dandy little teaspoon or your half teaspoon or your quarter teaspoon measure and use those and gauge, and don't go overboard. Another way to sweeten smoothies, because smoothies are a huge, which are my next food I'm going to talk about. Another good way to sweeten your smoothie is to get some apple cider. What I do with my apple cider, I'll bend down, is I buy a half gallon of apple cider, particularly in the wintertime because I like to use it, and I make ice cubes with it. had before I could drink the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I my plastic ice cube trays with the apple cider, pop them in my freezer. Then I dump them out into a Ziploc bag and keep them in my freezer. And apple cider is a wonderful way to sweeten your smoothie.
Mm-hmm.
You just add 1 cube to your smoothie. Because I don't make a double batch of smoothies. I only make a single batch.
Mm-hmm.
And apple cider will just give it that little edge of sweetness that you need.
Huh.
Without using any sugar substitutes.
Yeah.
So now we're going to move on to smoothies. I have my handy dandy blender.
Mm-hmm.
And smoothies are actually a wonderful way to start your day, especially with a green smoothie where you're using spinach, kale. You may grate up some carrot to put in there. Carrots are a good way to sweeten smoothies as well.
Mm-hmm.
There are all kinds of things. And sometimes the thing to be, I'm getting off track here, but the thing to be conscious when we're making a smoothie is don't go overboard. That's where we get into the danger zone. You can make a smoothie that has 700 to 1,000 calories. You don't need to be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, a smoothie is a great way to start your day, but don't go overboard. A lot of times, people will put whole fruit smoothie, then they'll add fruit juice to the smoothie, then they'll add walnuts or almond butter or peanut butter. They'll add some pumpkin seeds. Then they'll add yogurt. All of that contains sugar and fat.
Mm-hmm.
So my big thing is, instead of using almond milk or juice
mm-hmm.
to create the body of your smoothie, I use water. Purified, distilled, or spring water in the smoothie. Mm-hmm. And then you can add, say, a quarter to a half cup of almond milk with it. And I actually don't even use nut milks in my smoothie. I really prefer to use water, and then I'll use a teaspoon of nut butter. Because I'm allergic to peanuts, I'll use a teaspoon of almond butter, a half banana. The other thing is, if you want to trim it down some, the size of your banana.
Oh, wow.
These are small bananas. And when I'm buying my bananas, I look for the small bananas versus the great big monster bananas. So this is probably about 100 calories right there.
Yeah.
And they're small. They're about 6 inches and about 1 inch in diameter.
Yeah.
So also apples, the green apple smoothies are really good in the morning. Instead of using a whole apple, I use a half an apple or maybe even a quarter apple, depending on what else I'm putting in there. Adding yogurt, which takes me to my next food. Yogurt is huge, hiding sugars. The yogurts on the market today, most now are gluten-free, so that's a good thing. But your pre-sweetened yogurts have a lot of hidden sugar. The best yogurts to buy are the plain yogurts, and then add your own fresh fruit, honey, maple syrup. Again, I'd stay away from the agave nectar and use the raw honey or an organic maple syrup, and just a tablespoon of honey or even a teaspoon of honey, depending on how much. This is the Fage Total. Also, when you're buying yogurt, stay away from fat-free, because the difference, what they've done is they've taken the fat out and they've loaded it with sugar so that it has taste and flavor. This is Fage Total. I don't buy low-fat or fat-free products because of the high sugar content in them. And I don't eat that much yogurt. This container of Fage is 7 ounces. So this is 2 to 3 servings of yogurt. So
yeah, that would be just enough.
Yes, just enough. So we've gone over, let's recap. We've gone over avocados.
Yep.
cereal products, cereal bars, uh, fruit. What's the fruit?
Smoothies with the
Yeah,
agave nectar.
Yeah, dried fruit,
Mm-hmm.
agave nectar, smoothies,
And the yogurt.
and yogurt. So let's see, the cereal or cereal products and cereal bars, avocados,
Mm-hmm.
dried fruit,
Yep.
smoothies,
Yep. Bananas.
Mm-hmm. and agave nectar.
Agave nectar. Yep.
And I want to go on to fats real quickly before we close. This is a tub of extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil.
Coconut oil.
This is a wonderful way to supplement, and I'm going to go back to our smoothies. If you don't like to particularly cook with coconut oil, some people don't because it lends a coconut flavor to everything. And if you don't like your eggs or your other things that you're cooking, chicken to particularly have that, it's good to ask. But there again, you want to be conscious of how much you're using and how often. Because there again, it can add fat. And part of when we're thinking about our diet and whether foods are good for us or bad for us, some of these foods, it's all up to the person. We are all individuals when it comes to diet. There is no one diet fits all across the board. And you really need to learn what works for you as an individual. You can talk to your friends or talk to other people and say, hey, I really like this. And it may work for you great, or it may not, particularly depending on what your health goals are. Like, are you trying to lose weight? Are you trying to maintain weight? Are you trying to change your diet to eat healthier, to just be healthy? Are you trying to go off refined, prepared foods and eat a more natural, holistic diet of fruits, vegetables, meats, and grains? So whatever your goals are, consider what works for you. And size fits all does not work in our diet industry.
Yeah, very well said, Elsie. I have a couple of questions about that, too. Back to the cereal for a second. Are there any certain cereals that you recommend in general, or is there one that's a favorite go-to for yourself that you like?
I actually do not. I gave up cereal and didn't even realize I had given it up. When I went gluten-free back in 2009, I started buying Rice Chex and other Chex cereals because I was used to eating a bowl of cereal for breakfast or as for dinner, because I was sometimes have to wait, or I traveled a lot. And when I come home, I'd always make sure I had cereal and milk, because get off a plane, you necessarily haven't had anything to eat, or trying to find something gluten-free. And slowly my diet has just changed, that I don't eat cereal bars and I don't eat dry cereals anymore. The reason I have given them up is because of the refined carbohydrates, and I'm pretty much eating meat and vegetables, and I'm doing the same, so I don't eat grains or refined carbohydrates right now, so I'm off cereals.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I love cereals. Good to have, and especially if you have kids. If you've got a gluten-free child or someone in your family, finding them, look at the sugar content. And cereals completely different in certain instances where children, they eat like crazy. They need those calories in their body. So just read the label and look at what the content is. And particularly look at the sugar content and the fiber content.
Yeah, good point, Elsie. How about for yogurt? Back to yogurt for a second. Elsie, what about Greek yogurt?
Greek yogurt I like a lot, because Greek yogurt has a higher protein content than other regular yogurts.
Oh, okay.
And so I like that a lot. And if you're using Greek yogurt in your smoothies, just add a couple of tablespoons for the bump up. Another thing I really like, if you're doing that is kefir.
Oh, yeah.
And again,
Probiotic, like yogurt drink, kind of.
yeah, kefir is good. That's highly, it's got a lot of probiotics in it, and it's got a little bump up on protein. Again, I stay away from, or depending on what you're look the flavor varieties. Go with the plain. There's goat milk kefir, there's regular milk kefir, and there's Greek kefir out on the market today.
And Elsie, what about probiotics such as acidophilus, the good bacteria? Do you like those
Yeah.
supplements, the supplementation of good flora?
Oh gosh, yes. I take a probiotic every day. In fact, I take a prescription probiotic because of the SIBO, and I also take I take two a day. I take a Florastor, and then I'm on a prescription VSL3, the packets. So I take a probiotic. I also take a digestive enzyme every day. So I'm a big believer in probiotics and taking that to help your gut.
Perfect. All right, well, Elsie. Well, listen, you've really helped us out greatly. I really liked how you addressed about to be concerned about overtaking too much sugar with the fruits, and the juices that people can do, and how the fat could add up with the refined cereals, and having a good fat is essential, like your avocado, and the portion control. You just described that very eloquently and beautifully. That was just brilliant. Elsie, thank you so much. Before we let you go, can we please get your contact information out there so anybody has any other questions, they can follow up with you directly?
Yes, my home office phone number is 404-315-7665, and I'm on Facebook at Elsie Trawick.
Wonderful. We'll get that on the screen here momentarily. Well, Elsie, again, like I said, thank you so much. This was terrific. This was a wonderful video blog for this month here in March, and we'll look forward to seeing you next month for our next health and wellness topic with you.
That sounds great. Y'all have a great day.
You too. Thank you, Elsie.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.